How many times have you walked into a room, paused, and asked yourself, why did I come in here? Or maybe you've struggled to recall the name of an old friend, even though you just spoke with them last week. A slip here or there might seem harmless, even amusing, but for adults over 65, these everyday lapses can feel like early warnings, flashes of something deeper going on beneath the surface. And while we often attribute these moments to normal aging, what if part of the problem isn't age at all? What if some of the most common foods on your plate are quietly chipping away at your mental clarity, day after day? Here's the truth. Nearly 1 in 9 Americans over age 65 lives with Alzheimer's disease, according to the Alzheimer's Association, and tens of millions more report early signs of cognitive decline, difficulty concentrating, processing information, or remembering simple details. But here's what the headlines often miss. It's not just your genes or your age that affect brain health. The food you eat every single day plays a critical role in how your brain ages, and in many cases, it's accelerating the damage. In fact, a 2022 study published in Neurology found that seniors who regularly consumed ultra-processed foods, such as deli meats, packaged pastries, and sugary snacks, had 28% faster cognitive decline than those with whole food, nutrient-dense diets. Another Harvard study linked high glycemic diets to increased risk of dementia. These aren't isolated warnings. They're mounting red flags that the modern diet may be silently eroding our mental resilience, especially in older adults. But don't panic, because here's the good news. While some foods may be doing harm, others can do the opposite. There are vegetables, herbs, oils, and even snacks that can help protect your brain, boost memory retention, and keep you sharper, well into your 80s and 90s. At Ageless Vitality, we're here to help you make sense of the noise, decode the labels, and build a smarter plate without going on extreme diets or sacrificing the joy of eating. In this deep dive guide, we'll uncover the 3 foods most commonly linked to brain shrinkage, inflammation, and memory loss in seniors, and they might not be the ones you think. Then, we'll show you 3 science-backed foods that nourish your brain, protect neural tissue, and support sharper thinking. Foods that are easy to find, enjoyable to eat, and surprisingly powerful. You'll also meet real seniors who made simple swaps and saw measurable improvements in focus, recall, and energy. So whether you're managing early signs of cognitive fog, have a family history of dementia, or simply want to stay mentally strong, independent, and vibrant for the decades ahead, this is your wake-up call. The foods you choose today can either accelerate brain aging or help reverse it. Stick with us to the end, and you'll walk away not only knowing what to avoid, but empowered with realistic, delicious alternatives to support your brain every single day. Worst brain food 1. Processed meats, like bacon, sausage, and deli turkey. It might be the go-to for a quick sandwich, a comforting breakfast plate, or an easy dinner fix. But processed meats like bacon, sausage, and deli turkey are quietly doing damage far beyond your waistline. For millions of older adults across America, these foods are a staple, often seen as harmless or even protein-rich. But what few realize is that processed meats are among the worst offenders when it comes to accelerating brain shrinkage and cognitive decline. Why? The answer lies in what makes these meats processed in the first place. Unlike fresh cuts of chicken or beef, processed meats are preserved using nitrates, nitrites, excessive sodium, and chemical additives to enhance shelf life, flavor, and appearance. These compounds may make your turkey sandwich more convenient, but inside the body, they set off a chain of events that can slowly erode brain health. A 2021 study published in the journal Molecular Psychiatry examined the diets of over 500,000 individuals and found that those who consumed even small amounts of processed meat daily had a 44% higher risk of developing dementia, especially vascular dementia, a form directly tied to impaired blood flow to the brain. Even more alarming, Participants who ate as little as 25 grams of processed meat per day, about one slice of ham, showed greater signs of brain atrophy over time. The culprit? Chronic inflammation caused by preservatives and the oxidative stress that damages neurons. Inflammation is a silent destroyer. While you might not feel its effects immediately, it quietly chips away at the delicate tissues of the brain. The high sodium content in processed meats also raises blood pressure, especially dangerous in seniors, as high blood pressure is one of the strongest predictors of cognitive decline. Additionally, nitrites can convert into nitrosamines, compounds that are neurotoxic and have been linked to an increased risk of Alzheimer's in animal models. Take, for example, Carolyn Davis, 72, from Springfield, Missouri. For years, Carolyn started every morning with bacon and eggs, believing it was a hearty, low-carb choice. But over time, she noticed her memory faltering. "I'd forget appointments, get lost driving home, and once even left the stove on," she recalls. After visiting a nutritionist, she was advised to eliminate processed meats entirely. Within 6 months, Carolyn replaced bacon with omega-3 rich salmon and began incorporating more leafy greens. Her memory improved, but more importantly, so did her energy and confidence. "It was like I got a piece of myself back," she says. So what can you do if you love savory, protein-rich foods but want to protect your brain? The answer isn't giving up flavor. It's upgrading your choices. Smarter choice: wild-caught salmon, sardines, and plant-based protein options. Fatty fish like wild-caught salmon, sardines, and mackerel are rich in DHA, docosahexaenoic acid, a type of omega-3 fat essential for maintaining brain volume and supporting communication between neurons. According to a 2016 study in JAMA Neurology, seniors with higher blood levels of DHA had significantly larger brain volumes and performed better on memory and learning tasks than those with low DHA levels. Just 2 servings of salmon per week were enough to make a measurable difference. Not a fan of fish? No problem. Plant-based options like tempeh, tofu, lentils, and walnuts offer powerful anti-inflammatory compounds without the nitrates and chemicals found in processed meats. Combine these with brain-boosting herbs like turmeric or rosemary, and you have meals that are not only delicious but protective. Try this simple swap. Instead of a bacon and egg breakfast, try a savory veggie scramble with tofu, spinach, and avocado, seasoned with turmeric and black pepper. Or replace your deli sandwich with a grilled salmon salad tossed in olive oil and lemon, both ingredients known to support brain health. It's not about perfection. It's about small, consistent changes. Cutting out processed meats may feel like a sacrifice at first, especially if they've been a part of your routine for decades. But as countless seniors are discovering, when you feed your brain what it truly needs, the clarity, confidence, and independence you regain are worth every bite you give up. And remember, it's not too late. Even after 65, the brain remains plastic. It can heal, grow, and adapt. The foods you choose today can either fuel that healing or stand in its way. One choice at a time, one plate at a time, you can take back control. Worst: brain food. 2. Refined carbs and added sugars, the sweet trap that dulls your mind. It starts with a muffin at breakfast, maybe a glass of orange juice or a bowl of cereal. Later, a quick snack bar or sandwich on white bread. Then pasta for dinner, and maybe a scoop of ice cream to end the day. Separately, none of these choices seem catastrophic. But together, they form a hidden trap, one that slowly, quietly chips away at brain clarity, focus, and even emotional regulation. For seniors over 65, refined carbohydrates and added sugars are among the most deceptive enemies of cognitive health. Here's why. When we eat refined carbs, white bread, white rice, pasta, pastries, sugary drinks, the body digests them very quickly, leading to sudden spikes in blood glucose and insulin. Over time, this roller coaster effect contributes to a condition known as insulin resistance, not only a major risk factor for type 2 diabetes, but also for Alzheimer's disease. In fact, some scientists have begun referring to Alzheimer's as type 3 diabetes because of how closely it's linked to impaired glucose metabolism in the brain. A groundbreaking 2018 study published in the Journal of Alzheimer's Disease found that seniors with higher sugar intake experienced significantly faster cognitive decline, especially in memory and spatial processing. Another study from Mayo Clinic proceedings found that people over 70 with high carbohydrate diets had nearly 4 times the risk of mild cognitive impairment compared to those with higher intake of healthy fats and protein. The damage doesn't end there. Chronically elevated blood sugar leads to the production of advanced glycation end products, AGEs, toxic compounds that cause oxidative stress and inflammation in brain cells. This weakens the connections between neurons and contributes to the formation of beta amyloid plaques, one of the hallmarks of Alzheimer's. Let's meet Wallace King, 68, a retired construction manager from Jacksonville, Florida. For most of his life, Wallace had what he called a sweet tooth the size of Texas. He loved cinnamon rolls, sweet tea, pancakes, and pasta. I figured I earned it after years of hard work, he says. But by his late 60s, Wallace was forgetting names, confusing dates, and struggling with simple tasks like paying bills. After consulting with a neurologist, he underwent a brain scan and blood work. The diagnosis: early-stage cognitive decline, likely accelerated by diet-induced insulin resistance. Wallace was shocked. Nobody told me that carbs and sugar could hurt your brain. I thought Alzheimer's was just bad luck, he reflects. But instead of giving up, Wallace took action. With the help of a dietitian, he cut out refined carbs and switched to a low-glycemic, brain-friendly diet rich in vegetables, fish, nuts, and healthy fats. In 6 months, his mental sharpness improved, and he reported better sleep, steadier moods, and clearer focus. He still misses pancakes sometimes, but says, "Feeling like myself again is worth skipping the syrup." Smarter choice. Low-glycemic, brain-supportive foods, like berries, quinoa, and sweet potatoes. The goal isn't to eliminate all carbohydrates. It's to be smarter about which ones we choose. Complex carbs that are rich in fiber and nutrients slow down glucose absorption, preventing the brain-damaging spikes that come with refined carbs. One of the best swaps? Replace white bread and pasta with quinoa, lentils, or whole oats. These foods provide sustained energy without the inflammatory spike. Instead of reaching for sugary snacks, go for blueberries, blackberries, and strawberries. Not only are they low in sugar, but they're packed with anthocyanins, compounds shown to improve communication between brain cells and protect against oxidative stress. A 2012 study from Annals of Neurology found that women who ate at least 2 servings of berries per week delayed cognitive aging by up to 2.5 years. If you crave something sweet, consider baking with cinnamon, almond flour, and a touch of monk fruit sweetener. These swaps don't just reduce sugar, they actively support your brain. Cinnamon, in particular, has been linked to improved insulin sensitivity and memory performance. And let's not forget hydration. Sugary sodas and juices are not just empty calories, they're high-octane brain fog fuel. Switch to infused water, green tea, or herbal teas with ginkgo biloba or rosemary, which have mild nootropic effects. So next time you feel tempted by that glazed donut or bowl of sugary cereal, ask yourself, is this helping me think better or slowing me down? Your brain deserves better fuel, and now you know exactly where to start. Worst brain food. 3. Artificial sweeteners and diet products. The deceptive enemies of brain clarity. They promise 0 sugar, low calorie, and guilt-free indulgence. From diet sodas to sugar-free yogurts, from chewing gum to snack bars, artificial sweeteners have flooded the diets of older adults aiming to lose weight or manage diabetes. But while these products may look innocent, even healthy, on the surface, mounting evidence suggests that artificial sweeteners may silently impair memory, disrupt the gut-brain connection, and shrink brain volume over time. Let's talk science. Artificial sweeteners like aspartame, sucralose, and saccharin don't contain sugar, but they interact with the body and brain in surprisingly dangerous ways. A 2023 study published in the journal Alzheimer's and Dementia found that regular consumption of artificially sweetened beverages was associated with an increased risk of stroke and dementia, independent of diabetes or cardiovascular risk factors. Another study in stroke followed over 4,000 adults for a decade and discovered that those who drank at least one diet soda per day had nearly 3 times the risk of developing dementia compared to non-consumers. So what's going on inside the body? For one, artificial sweeteners disrupt the gut microbiome, a vast ecosystem of bacteria in your digestive tract that plays a key role in brain health. When the balance of this microbiome is disturbed, it affects everything from inflammation levels to neurotransmitter production. For seniors, this disruption can mean more confusion, slower thinking, and higher risk of depression. Worse yet, some sweeteners like aspartame break down into excitotoxins like phenylalanine and methanol. In high enough concentrations, these compounds can overstimulate neurons to the point of damage or death, especially in aging brains already vulnerable to oxidative stress. While regulatory agencies have deemed these chemicals safe in moderation, new findings challenge what moderation really looks like in a society where artificial sweeteners hide in thousands of products. Let's meet Dolores Jensen, 75, from Portland, Oregon. After being diagnosed with prediabetes, Dolores switched from regular soda to diet soda, began buying low-fat yogurts, and relied on sugar-free cookies as her afternoon treat. "I thought I was doing everything right," she says. "My blood sugar stayed stable, but my brain didn't." Within a year, Dolores began noticing a persistent mental fog. She struggled to recall conversations, misplaced common items, and felt a growing sense of detachment. "I was present, but I didn't feel fully there," she recalls. A visit to a holistic nutritionist changed everything. Testing revealed major imbalances in her gut bacteria and elevated inflammatory markers. Dolores began phasing out all artificial sweeteners and instead adopted a clean, whole food approach, relying on natural sources of sweetness like berries, dates, and a touch of raw honey. The change wasn't instant, but it was real. Within 4 months, Dolores reported brighter moods, clearer recall, and a sense of mental sharpness she hadn't felt in years. Smarter choice, natural sweeteners, and brain-supportive whole foods. So what should seniors reach for instead? It starts with retraining the palate. Over years of consuming ultra-sweet products, many people become desensitized to natural sweetness. But once artificial sweeteners are removed, the flavors of real food become vibrant again. First, consider monk fruit and stevia, 2 natural plant-based sweeteners that do not spike blood sugar and have shown minimal to no neurotoxic effects in studies. Even better are unprocessed sources of sweetness, like raw honey, maple syrup, or medjool dates, when used sparingly. These options not only provide sweetness, but also contain antioxidants, minerals, and enzymes that support brain health rather than damage it. Next, build a brain-friendly plate with fiber-rich vegetables, fermented foods like kimchi or kefir, and prebiotic fibers like garlic, onions, and asparagus to heal and support the gut-brain axis. A 2019 meta-analysis published in Frontiers in Aging Neuroscience confirmed that improving gut diversity through dietary changes led to better cognitive function and reduced symptoms of depression in adults over 65. If you miss soda, try this. Sparkling water infused with lemon, cucumber, or mint, or a touch of 100% pomegranate juice. These options hydrate the body and offer a subtle sweetness without the mental fog. For snacks, swap sugar-free cookies for Greek yogurt topped with blueberries and cinnamon, Or enjoy homemade energy bites made with oats, chia seeds, and almond butter. The goal isn't deprivation, it's empowerment. Seniors don't need artificial ingredients to feel satisfied. In fact, the body, and especially the brain, responds best to foods it recognizes, digests, and uses with ease. In the end, it's not just about avoiding dementia, it's about living fully, remembering clearly, and thinking with confidence. Reclaiming brain health isn't reserved for the lucky few. With the right foods and a little intention, anyone, at any age, can feel mentally sharp and alive again. Let's take a moment to breathe and reflect. You've just learned about 3 of the most common and most underestimated foods that may be silently chipping away at your mental clarity after 65. Processed meats that inflame and restrict blood flow to your brain. Refined carbohydrates and sugars that spike insulin and fuel memory decline. And artificial sweeteners that disrupt your gut-brain balance and dull your thinking. These foods don't just affect what's on your plate. They shape how you think, feel, and experience life every single day. But the good news is this: it's never too late to make a change, and small changes truly do matter. Brain health isn't about perfection, it's about intention. You don't have to overhaul your entire diet overnight. Start simple. Swap 1 breakfast of sugary cereal for a bowl of oatmeal topped with walnuts and berries. Trade 1 slice of processed meat for a grilled salmon salad. Replace 1 can of diet soda with sparkling water and a slice of lemon. These aren't restrictions. They're acts of self-care. They're proof that you still have agency over your health, your future, and your ability to live vibrantly at any age. Here's how to begin. For the next 7 days, try cutting just 1 of these brain-shrinking foods out of your routine. Keep a small notebook and jot down how you feel, mentally, emotionally, physically. Do you wake up with more energy? Do you feel calmer? Are your thoughts clearer? Let your own body be the proof. Then, after a week, introduce one of the brain-boosting alternatives we've covered, like blueberries, leafy greens, or fermented foods, and watch what happens. This is not about fear. It's about hope backed by science, and choices backed by love, for yourself and those who count on you. And remember, you're not alone on this journey. Share this video with a friend, a spouse, a parent, someone who might also be silently wondering why they're more forgetful lately, why their moods feel unsteady, or why it's harder to concentrate than it used to be. You might just change their life with a simple conversation over food. Knowledge becomes transformation when it's shared. If you found this helpful, please like, comment, and share this video to help others protect the one organ that defines who we are, our brain. And if you're ready to make a change, type, "I'm ready," in the comments. Because the first step to a sharper, stronger mind is simply deciding you want one.